The phone buzzed on the kitchen counter like a venomous snake, and when I saw Sarah's name flash across the screen, my heart plummeted into a pit of ice. "Emily, I need to talk to you about the wedding," her text read, but it was the voice message that followed that gutted me. "Look, after everything, you can't come. It's my day, and I don't want the drama." Her voice so casual, as if she were canceling a lunch date, not barring her own sister from the most important event in her life. How could she, after all I've done? The words echoed in my mind, a betrayal sharper than any knife, leaving me staring at the granite countertop in our suburban Chicago home, the smell of burnt coffee filling the air as tears blurred my vision. My name is Emily Harper, and at 38, I'd built a life that looked perfect from the outside. A cozy 3-bedroom in Evanston, a steady job as a marketing director at a downtown firm, and weekends filled with yoga classes and book clubs. But family? That was the crack in the facade. Sarah, my younger sister by 5 years, had always been the golden child in our parents' eyes. Prettier, more outgoing, the one who landed the charming fiancé, Mark, a rising star in real estate. Me? I was the reliable one, the fixer, the sister who bailed her out of college debt and covered for her wild nights in her 20s. Yet here I was, uninvited to her wedding because of drama. What drama? The kind where I called her out for cheating on her high school boyfriend, or the time I refused to lie to mom about her secret credit card binges? It stung like salt in an open wound, this exclusion, especially since the wedding was set for our family's lakeside cabin in Wisconsin, a place brimming with childhood memories of bonfires and whispered secrets under the stars. That night, as rain pattered against the windows like accusing fingers, I paced the living room, the plush carpet muffling my footsteps. The house felt emptier than ever. My divorce from Tom 2 years ago had left echoes in every corner, reminders of failed promises. Why does she get to play the victim, I thought, sinking into the leather couch with a glass of Cabernet. Sarah's wedding invitations had already gone out. Embossed gold on cream paper, I'd seen the mock-ups she posted on Instagram. Friends from our shared circle had texted me excitedly, "Can't wait to see you there." Now I'd have to explain. Or worse, lie. The humiliation burned. I scrolled through her social media, her feed a curated perfection of bridal showers and engagement photos, Mark's arm around her waist, both beaming in designer outfits. But something nagged at me. A flicker in Mark's eyes in one photo, a comment from an old mutual friend that vanished quickly. What if there's more to this? The next morning, nursing a hangover and a resolve forged in the dark hours, I called my best friend Lisa. We'd met in college at Northwestern, bonded over late-night cram sessions and bad blind dates. Now, at 40, she was a therapist in the loop, her voice always a balm of reason. That's brutal," she said over the phone, the clatter of her morning coffee routine in the background. "But why now? Weddings bring out the worst in families. Remember my cousin's fiasco last Thanksgiving?" I laughed weakly, but my mind was racing. Lisa suggested therapy speak, confront her calmly, express my feelings. But calm wasn't what I craved. I wanted justice, a way to flip the script on Sarah's perfect narrative. Act 1 unfolded over the following weeks like a slow-building storm. I drove to my parents' house in the suburbs, the familiar tree-lined streets of Oak Park, stirring nostalgia and nausea. Mom, Evelyn, 65, and ever the peacemaker, greeted me with a hug that smelled of lavender soap and fresh-baked muffins. Dad, Robert, was in the den watching a Cubs game, his retired engineer's mind lost in stats. "Sarah's just stressed," Mom said, pouring tea in the sunlit kitchen, but her eyes darted away when I pressed, "Stressed enough to ban me? What did she tell you?" Dad shuffled in, his slippers scuffing the hardwood. Something about old arguments resurfacing. Said it might upset Mark's family. Old arguments? That was code for the skeletons Sarah wanted buried, like the time in our 20s when she borrowed money from my savings for a Vegas trip and never paid it back, or how she'd spread rumors about my marriage crumbling because of my supposed affair when it was Tom's infidelity that ended it. The inciting incident hit me during that visit. While helping Mom sort through old photo albums for wedding decor, ironic, right? I found a crumpled letter tucked in a box of mementos. It was from Mark, dated 3 years ago, addressed to Sarah. "I can't keep this up," it read in hasty scrawl. "The lies about the loan, the hidden accounts, it's too much. If Emily finds out..." My breath caught. Hidden accounts? Mark and Sarah had met at a real estate conference. He was her boss back then. I pocketed the letter, heart pounding, and excused myself to the bathroom, where I snapped photos on my phone. This wasn't just family drama. This smelled like fraud. Back home, I dug deeper. A quick search on my laptop revealed public records. Mark's company had faced a minor scandal over inflated property values. Sarah, as his assistant, might have been involved. She excluded me because she knows I'd sniff this out. As the wedding approached, 6 weeks away now, the tension escalated. Sarah called once, her voice clipped. "Emily, please don't make this harder. It's about starting fresh with Mark." I played along, feigning hurt acceptance, but inside a plan simmered. I confided in Lisa over brunch at a trendy spot in Wicker Park, the aroma of avocado toast and espresso fueling my resolve. "What if I expose them?" I whispered. Lisa's eyes widened behind her glasses. "Careful, Em. Revenge can backfire. But if it's true..." She introduced me to her colleague, a private investigator named Jake, a burly ex-cop in his 50s with a no-nonsense vibe. For a fee I charged to my credit card, ironic payback, Jake agreed to look into Mark and Sarah's finances. Ramped up the confrontation, a web of secrets unraveling like a poorly knit sweater. Jake's report arrived via encrypted email 2 weeks later, as I sat in my office overlooking the Chicago River, the city's skyline a jagged reminder of ambitions and falls. It detailed offshore accounts, embezzled funds from Mark's firm. Small at first, but snowballing. Sarah's name was on several transfers, disguised as wedding gifts from phantom clients. They were funding their lavish life on stolen money. Flashbacks hit me. Sarah's sudden designer wardrobe, the European honeymoon plans. And the kicker? Mark had a prior marriage, annulled quietly, with whispers of similar schemes. Why ban me? Because during my divorce, I'd hired a forensic accountant who uncovered Tom's hidden assets. Sarah feared I'd do the same at the wedding, toasting with pointed questions. I tested the waters at a family dinner, the kind of obligatory gathering in a chain restaurant like Olive Garden, breadsticks and salad masking the undercurrents. Sarah arrived late, her engagement ring sparkling under the fluorescent lights, Mark in tow with his polished smile. "Emily, glad you could make it," she said coolly, avoiding my gaze. Mom chattered about floral arrangements, Dad about the Cubs' playoff chances. I dropped subtle hints. "Heard about that real estate bust downtown. Shady deals, huh?" Mark stiffened, his fork pausing mid-air. Sarah shot him a look. "They know I know something." Later in the parking lot, Sarah pulled me aside under the sodium lamps. "What are you playing at? This is my time. Stay out of it." Her eyes, so like mine, but colder, flashed warning. "Too late, sis." Allies formed unexpectedly. Jake became more than a hire. Over coffee meetings in dingy diners, he shared stories of his own family betrayals, a brother who swindled their inheritance. "People like your sister think they're untouchable," he grunted, sipping black coffee. Lisa provided emotional scaffolding. "You're not the villain here, Em, but make it count." I wove a subplot with an old flame, Alex, a journalist I dated in my 30s, now at the Chicago Tribune. We reconnected via LinkedIn. His messages a mix of flirtation and professionalism. "Sounds juicy," he texted when I hinted at the story. "Off the record for now?" I agreed, but planted seeds. The revenge plan crystallized. Not violence, but exposure. I'd crashed the rehearsal dinner, not the wedding itself, to avoid outright chaos, and present evidence in a way that shocked without destroying. Social media would amplify it. Sarah lived for her online persona. I prepared a digital dossier, emails, bank statements Jake hacked legally through public channels, the letter. Internal monologues haunted my nights. Am I becoming her? No, this is justice. Sensory details amplified the buildup. The metallic tang of fear in my mouth during stakeouts with Jake, watching Sarah and Mark dine at upscale spots. The hum of my printer spitting out proof. The soft glow of my phone screen as I drafted anonymous tips. As the wedding weekend loomed, subplots intertwined. Mom called, voice trembling. "Emily, Sarah says you're stirring trouble. Please, for the family." I reassured her vaguely, but guilt gnawed. A flashback to our childhood. Sarah and I building forts in the Wisconsin woods, promising eternal sisterhood. What happened to us? Competition, perhaps. Her beauty, my brains. Now it fueled the fire. Things exploded at the rehearsal dinner, held at a quaint inn near the lake, fairy lights twinkling against the dark waters. I arrived unannounced, dressed in a sleek black dress that screamed confidence, my heart thundering like a summer storm. The room buzzed with relatives, cousins from Milwaukee, aunts clucking over centerpieces. Sarah spotted me first, her face paling under the makeup. "What are you doing here?" she hissed, pulling me into a side room scented with pine and potpourri. Mark followed, his tie askew. "Emily, this isn't the place." "Oh, but it is," I said calmly, pulling out my phone. I projected the dossier on a blank wall. Bank records, the letter, emails linking them to the embezzlement. Gasps rippled as family trickled in, drawn by the raised voices. "I announced that you've been funding this wedding with stolen money." My voice was steady, despite the adrenaline. Chaos ensued. Mom's hand to her mouth, Dad's bewildered stare, Uncle's muttering about calling the authorities. Sarah lunged for the phone, tears streaking her mascara. "You bitch! This is revenge for what? Being the forgotten sister?" Mark tried to downplay it. "It's a misunderstanding." But the climax peaked when I revealed the twist. I'd already tipped Alex, who published a sanitized version online that morning, timed for maximum impact. Sarah's Instagram followers, thousands, were buzzing with speculation. The family was shocked, yes, but not just at me. Whispers turned to questions. Is this true? Jake, waiting outside, had alerted the firm's ethics board anonymously. The wedding? Postponed indefinitely as investigations loomed. In the aftermath, as I drove back to Chicago under a starlit sky, empowerment washed over me like cool lake water. Sarah called days later, broken. "You ruined everything." But her tone held a sliver of remorse. "Maybe we can talk." Mom mediated a family therapy session where truths spilled, her favoritism, my resentment. Mark faced charges, Sarah probation and repayment. Me? I emerged stronger, my circle tighter with Lisa and Alex, who became more than a contact. The family? Shocked, yes, but healing. Revenge isn't always sweet, I thought, sipping wine on my porch, but sometimes it's necessary. The ripple effects lingered. Holiday gatherings, awkward at first, but honest. Sarah rebuilt, sans the facade, working a humble job. I advanced at work, channeling the grit. And that title? It became our family's lore. What I did next didn't just shock, it redefined us.